And we're back with another episode of Franchise My Business, the podcast for franchisors, hosted by franchisors. I'm your host, Kevin Oldham, and I'm recording this episode the Monday after Thanksgiving. Here in the United States, we just got through celebrating all the things that matter to us. And so this topic's going to be about gratitude today. Gratitude. What's it mean? It means to be thankful for all the things that you have. To be appreciative for the things you have, not the things that you do not have, okay? And this is going to kind of go in the whole gap in the gain talk. So if you've heard me talk about Dan Sullivan's book, The Gap in the Gain, you'll know where we're headed, which is, and as a recap of the gap in the game, just the gap is what you don't have, the gain is what you have, and how you show up in the world is one of two ways. You can either be appreciative and look at all the progress you've made compared to where you've been, or you can look ahead and be like, wow, I don't have fill in the blank that so-and-so has. Okay? And you're living in the gap if you do that. Meaning you don't have gratitude. Okay. So first of all, if you're listening to this episode, congratulations. You are not dead. You should be full of gratitude because you made it another day. Secondly, if you're listening to this, chances are you're not in a third world country. Okay, you have technology. Your basic needs are probably taken care of. You're probably not worried about where your next meal is coming from and all those things. That means you should have gratitude. And I think that a lot of us have a hard time being appreciative for what we have. And let's just go ahead and blame social media. Let's go ahead and blame technology. Let's just go ahead and shift that blame elsewhere. But I also believe that it's kind of human nature, you know, things like envy, jealousy, all of these things. So what do we do with them? And furthermore, what do we do with them as business leaders? How do we use these things that try to creep into our lives as business leaders, particularly as somebody who's trying to build a scalable organization? What do we do with it? And I got a couple different little mental models that'll help you. So gap in the gain is a big one. If you haven't read the book, you don't need to. I've already shared kind of the synopsis with you. But basically, the tool that I use when I feel like I haven't accomplished enough is I'll say, what was I doing 5 years ago? And here's a way that you can make it super clear and not opaque. Go to your phone, pull up your calendar, see what you were doing 5 years ago. Go to your media library, start looking at photos. You'll get a sense of what it was like where you were in your lives, what you were doing. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do this right now. I'm going to do a real world exercise, and we're going to see what was happening and you know we don't do out loud math on this show. I stole that from my first million. We're going to go back and we're going to look at, actually my library's dead because I was looking at memories earlier from 12 years ago. So I do this quite a bit. The Facebook memories function is also really good for this. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh my gosh. When you start going way back, you start realizing like you had kids and stuff. They were much, much younger. Okay. So what am I looking at now? I'm looking at a picture of Landon in the office I'm in right now. The office looks dramatically different. He's much younger. We're at a coffee shop. So Landon's my son. Trying to find something related to business here. Business-wise, okay. So now I'm starting to get some memories. Some of those memories are us in my basement office. So I used to have a home office before COVID, and things would happen in there. Here's another picture of our son with his laptop at our main office, our brick and mortar. And this reminds me, looking at this picture, of how appreciative I was that we had our first office, the office we're in right now. And so that's what I'm going to focus my gratitude on. This small exercise where I could go back and realize, hey, we had just moved from our basement office. It was transitioning to our first, you know, as I like to say, big boy office, right? Our first office that we signed a lease on. We said we were going to have a 3-year commitment, like some very scary things that when I look back now, I'm like, oh yeah, it's no big deal. And that provides me with gratitude. That provides me with a lens to look at today, look around this office and say, wow, over the past 5 years, a lot of really cool things have happened here. And that gives me a sense of gratitude and appreciation. And sometimes that's all it takes. So gap in the gain, looking back at where you were, pick a time. I like 5 years. Pick a time 3 years ago. If you're sprinting and you think a lot's happening now, pick a time a year ago. Look at what you've accomplished. Find mental anchors and not just generic stuff, real ones look at your calendar, look at your photo library, look at your videos, talk to your significant other, although chances are they probably remember what was happening 5 years ago. And then look at where you have come and celebrate that. Because chances are in 5 years, you've grown so huge as a human being and your business. You've done so much more in a 5-year period than you could have ever imagined, that there's going to be no way that you're not going to be appreciative. And you're not going to be able to show gratitude towards yourself as to all the awesome things that you've done. And then once you're able to do that, once you're able to experience gratitude yourself, it just trickles down to all areas of your life. You start appreciating the people around you more. You start appreciating the people you live with. You start appreciating the fact that you woke up today, because some people didn't. So there you go. Until next time, I'm your host, Kevin Oldham. I am super, super appreciative of you listening to this show. We have been doing this show for 11 months. We're in the 90s in terms of episodes. I don't know which episode this is. My commitment was to record at a minimum 104 shows, 2 shows per week, 52 weeks. Without you, we wouldn't be here. So thank you so, so much for joining us on this journey. Till next time, have a phenomenal week and be well.